Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another edition of High Chicago. As usual, it's your boy Sean, here with the homies
Oh
JV,
boy.
AD, and MC.
What's
You
up?
feel me?
What's
How
this
y'all
thing you're doing?
Right. What
with
is this?
the letter thing?
Is this Power
Yeah.
92?
Like I'm
I
trying to.
feel like a little DJ right now. You feel me?
Should I request a
um,
song? DJ Ferris.
Oh no.
oh my goodness.
Wherever you guys are listening, however you're listening, thank you guys for the support. As always, we appreciate you guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on YouTube if you like us. Don't forget to leave a comment, leave us a rating on your favorite audio platforms. Come rock with us, come talk with us. We're gonna kind of dive in, right? So you have to stop singing.
Wait,
You're not good
wait.
at it.
Dive in it. That's maybe what he shouldn't be doing. How you doing?
So obviously the four of us have a group chat, right? And in the group chat, every time somebody says the N-word, Mary Claire feels the need to laugh. And so we're just trying to figure out if that's okay of her, or like why did she choose to go that direction?
I want to know
So-
why Mary Claire sends me TikToks with the N-word in it. And then she'd be
Oh,
like, this is so
no.
funny. And I'd be like, this is kind of cringy. And I don't know how I feel about that.
But like every time in the group chat, she always like laughs at that shit. It's weird to
Oh
me.
my.
See, look, she laughing now.
Now y'all come back and I know exactly what you're talking about.
So JV, does it bother you that she laughs at that constantly?
You know, I text out my black friends and I'll be like, I have this one white friend with this loud barking dog in the background, and she's always like making jokes about the N-word and sending me videos with words in it. And then I don't know.
Lying.
It's very
Straight
cringy.
lying.
That's
What's
what
so
people
funny about
say.
that word, MC? Like what's hilarious about that word to you? Honestly.
It's actually nothing hilarious about the word. It's just when y'all be texting, I can hear it in your tone of voice.
Oh,
And-
So you're hearing, so you're thinking about the N-word is
So-
what you're saying.
so you
No,
did-
I'm just thinking about y'all dumbasses.
oh, see, why we
That's
gotta be
just
like-
it.
that
See?
just felt racist how she said that.
For
Like
real?
I'll be
Yeah.
sitting at work one day, like, man, I really miss the guys, and then y'all say some really foul ass shit, and then I'll just fucking start laughing
I feel that. I feel that.
because I can hear it in JV's like different voices that he always uses when he's trying to make fun of somebody or get a point across.
His southern white man voice.
Oh,
Oh
He's
my
got the white
goodness.
man voice, the
Okay,
southern
let's-
voice, the country voice, the racist voice.
wait a minute.
It
I don't
sounds
have all-
like like JV's getting canceled today.
right. It sounds like right. I'm just like, are we talking about the same JV? I don't think you guys.
Mm-mm.
Y'all
Are
mean
we talking about the same
JB.
Mary? Because y'all was trying to make me sound like
Yeah.
I'm racist
I'm
as
about
hell.
to say, do I have all those
No.
voices? I only say, "How you doing?" That's the only voice I got.
Well, no, in previous episodes we have you like mocking southern people in your voice, mocking what you call the white man in your voice. Like I have that on YouTube for everybody to
do?
see.
I don't know about.
I'll
It's
play the
all
I'll
there.
play the clips in the episode. Don't worry, we'll drop it. in
Please
that.
don't. We're okay.
But
Let's
speaking
just
of
move it on.
canceled, right?
That's a good segue.
He's not canceled yet, but if you guys aren't familiar, Houston Texans star quarterback Deshaun Watson is going through a lot right now. There are 22 civil cases against him for misconduct during massages.
You said
What?
22. What? I didn't hear you.
22 civil cases
Oh, okay.
against Deshaun Watson for misconduct during massages, right? And the 23rd is on the way.
Mm.
Oh boy.
Yikes.
So here's what we know for sure, right? Is that a woman named Ashley Solis was the first to come forward and is alleging civil assault and emotional distress when Watson allegedly exposed himself during a massage and purposely touched her hand with his penis.
Ooh.
That's what we know for sure.
Okay.
We know that Watson's attorney states that Tony Busby, who's a lawyer to all these women, sought out $100K in what he called hush money on behalf of Solis to quietly settle this matter. And then we also know that Nike and Beats by Dre have suspended their partnership with Deshaun Watson until further notice, pending what happens with these cases.
Right.
So,
Wow.
yeah,
That's
my
a
question-
lot.
that's a
Yeah.
lot.
That's a
Number
lot.
one.
And also, don't forget to say, also, there were a group of massage therapists who actually came to Watson's defense. They are, saying like he was a good client, They had posted that as well. So you do have some people who are saying, wait, that's not true. That
There's
never
people
happened.
on his side.
There are people on his side, is what I'm basically trying to say.
Well,
Okay.
of course, right? So then I guess, Aaron, my question for you then is 23 is a lot,
It is a lot.
right? Do you think that these women have a reason to lie?
Mm.
Money can always be a motivator. Right. But in this situation, it very much does not seem like 23 people who all have similar stories. And then there was the SI article, if I'm not mistaken, that said that these stories all sound similar to her actual situation with Deshaun Watson, which she isn't even going after anything in this situation. She just wanted her story out there. It's becoming increasingly hard day after day to actually think that this is all a setup against Deshaun Watson. It feels more like it's more likely that maybe he didn't cross the line with everybody, but there is a significant portion of the people that he has had massages from in which he did cross the line.
Basically, he would go to a massage therapist, and I mean, he's a football player,
either at their house or at their place of business.
Yeah, so he's a football player, which is not uncommon. He getting his quads worked out or whatever. That's not uncommon. But he would get his quads worked out or whatever, and then he would like somehow convince the women to do other things. So let's say if they working on his inner thigh, he'd be like, "Can you move your hand up a little bit?" Whatever, and they just trying to do their job allegedly, and he'll like take the towel off. Like the one lady in the SI thing was like, he took the towel off and was like, "I don't like this towel, make it feel fuzzy." He was like, "It itched me" or something.
Yeah, because a lot of the allegations are similar.
Yeah.
And so Aaron said that money could be a motivation, and in civil cases, generally the result is monetary damages being paid out.
Right.
So that could be a reason. I don't know, 2023 still seems like a whole fucking hell of a lot. Mir Claire's the resident woman on the show. Where's your head at with this? You more so on the side of Deshaun Watson being innocent, or you more so on the side of all 23 women, there's no way they're all fucking lying? I know we don't know a lot right now.
I think it's interesting. I mean, I think it's really interesting that the three of you are like, oh, 23 people, same story. He probably sounds like it's consistent. He did it. But at the same time, he is a very important figure in the sports world. And who's to say he can't come across many women, and then I'm just going to be the devil's advocate here and say, it's not impossible for 23 people to make a similar allegation against somebody and they not be true.
So, okay, we got a star quarterback, right? What Solis allegedly said that he said was that, I know you have a career and a reputation, and I know you would hate for someone to mess with yours, just like I don't want anybody messing with mine. That doesn't sound like something someone famous would say?
No. I mean,
what?
It can. I mean, you can. What I'm saying is, you can say that just as easily as you can take it away. It's so easy to put him in the spotlight because he is the figure that he is what I'm saying. So, for everyone to say like, oh, all these things line up, it's probably true. That's just as bad as look at all the past stories we've looked at where we're like, yeah, that person probably did it. And then boom, like an innocent person was accused, all because we went with the believable stories. I mean, I'm not an advocate.
Yeah, 23 is a lot.
Well, if I may,
right.
If I could jump in real quick, I mean, that's where we are in society, right? Like, I mean, we say you're innocent until proven guilty, but the truth of the matter is that especially when it comes to women, sexual assault, rape type situations, because so many people in so many years before have never believed them in a lot of times, now it's at a point where if someone says that, we want to try to give them that benefit of the doubt, but also walk that delicate line by saying, well, this guy is innocent until proven guilty. But then if you have an abundance amount of people come out and say it too, then it's like, it just kind of, you just find yourself in this
It overpowers. It overpowers like the entire process. And that's what makes it difficult to form an opinion about in the first place, because we take all these past experiences where somebody was accused and then 20 other people jump in on it. And we're like, oh, we've seen this happen before. Like, it's probably true. But, like I said, like, I'm not saying I support any kind of like sexual assault, abuse, anything like that. But I do like to sit back, take the time and, see how it plays out, the evidence, the facts, because, we don't know these people personally. They might know each other personally, but we, the public, we don't know them like that.
I would just say this too, Sean, Aaron, and MC. Like, there are just a few things to keep in mind. I mean, before this allegation even came out, Deshaun Watson got in front of it. If you guys remember, Deshaun Watson was the one who posted a post on Twitter talking about somebody is going to try to come after him about saying that he sexually assaulted them, and he's going to fight this to the very
Okay,
end.
he got wind of it, so his lawyer he did what his lawyer told him to do. Get in front of it.
He got in front of it, which a lot of times people don't.
It
a lot of times
just be a PR move, though.
It could be. I'm just telling you the timeline. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm saying he did get in front of it, and then next thing you know, it's like this avalanche of all these people.
Because it takes one, bro. Do you know how brave women have to be to step up, especially dealing with a celebrity? They can ruin your career and your reputation like it's fucking nothing.
I agree, and that's what the whole Me Too movement was built on. It was somebody coming forward, and then everybody else getting the confidence to come forward.
And I agree.
Which I do understand that as well. And so but again, now think of the flip side, Sean. One person comes forward, and then that helps everyone else build up to that. Mm-hmm. Now, let's say Deshaun Watson decided not to say anything because he's like, I don't want to appear like I'm trying to cover anything up or make this nice PR stunt to get ahead of it, so to speak. Let's say he doesn't say anything at all, and then we found out all these women are either fibbing or lying, whatever you want to call it. And then you're like, well, why didn't Deshaun Watson just say that in the first place?
It's a delicate balance. I would say this. This is the one thing that I want everybody to think about. A lot of times people ask this question, they be like, he's a famous quarterback, he's famous. It doesn't even have to be Deshaun's situation. It could be, famous actors and actresses. We've seen this happen in so many different things. And they always say, they got all this money, they don't have to do this. Why they could get anybody in the world. And I think the question people should ask is not so much why are they doing this, but exactly if Deshaun is guilty in other situations that we had this have this happen, why do these people of power and money feel like this is okay? There are people who are willing, who would love to be with Deshaun Watson. Why did he, if that actually happened, again allegedly, why did he allegedly, assault these women? Like why do people with power, fame, and in those positions in lives, why do they do those types of things? And that's something that I wish.
Because they, in my opinion, it's because they can. And they know that they can get away with it most times, right? I'll pay you a little money under the table, maybe, right? Or I'll threaten you with something, right?
However,
shut the fuck up.
But however, somebody can just as easily try to play victim and say, oh, well, if I do this and make this this big figure look bad, I could potentially get them to slide me a bunch of money under the table just so that it's not a big
correct
scandal.
And so a bitch tried that with Derrick Rose one time.
I'm
sorry.
Okay.
I got really passionate.
Okay, so
no, hang on. I'm sorry. My apologies. But like when you do it the way Mary Claire explained, right, where you're lying and you get caught up in your lie, I have no respect for that.
I had to freeze for a second.
No, zero. My apologies, but that's how I felt in the moment, right? Because you should go to hell for that. That's bogus, right? So, JV, as the resident person who covered Derrick Rose before, right? Do you remember how he was during that time?
Yeah, I remember Derrick was very adamant by saying, hey, I can, of course I can, pay this person, but no, I'm not. I'm going to go through trial. And if you all know Derrick, he's a very private person. And I wrote about this at Fox Sports. Derrick said, hey, I'm going to fight this to the very end. And people around him were like, hey, you do understand every dark little detail about your sex life and everything else is going to be broadcast to the world. Right. And that it was. And you still had people who were questioning Derrick when they had him on trial. They said on the stand, they said, do you know what consent mean? And he was basically saying like he didn't know what consent meant or whatever, however the question was phrased. And people were just like, whoa, I can't believe it. But as you mentioned, Derrick Rose was not charged in that civil case. And
and how many women came forward accusing Derrick Rose of something?
I think it was just that one woman, if I'm not mistaken.
I want to say it was one, maybe two, right? I'm not positive on that, but I know it wasn't 22, 23.
It wasn't.
Look at Bill Cosby. Look at who started the Me Too? Who's the dude with the Me Too shit? What was his name?
Weinstein.
Yeah, Weinstein. Look at Jeffrey Epstein. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we're talking dozens and dozens of women coming forward. For me, like that seems like you're more likely to be guilty than not.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with you there, but this is my problem.
Mary Claire was.
I'll let her talk in a second. One second. Let me just say, this is my problem that I have with people who are rich and famous. You can buy anybody that will fill out whatever your sicko fantasies are. So why do you feel the need to go above and beyond and abuse somebody or whatever the case may be? Like, do you know how many women, if Deshaun did this, do you know how many women in Houston, Texas, of all places, right? Strip capital of the world. Do you know how many women would love to just be with Deshaun Watson?
I know there's one on the show.
Get Mary. You know what Mary Claire would do?
Wait,
That's why she's defending him.
You're done
That's
talking.
exactly
I'm
why
gonna cut
she's
you off
been
right
defending
there.
him.
You know what Mary
I'm
Claire
not
would do
saying
for
that I
$5,000?
necessarily. No. Okay, JB, you're canceled. You're done.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and say, like, Sean, I do agree that what you're saying it's valid. 23 women, that's a lot, and for them to all stand together and speak the truth of what happened to them, that those are their words, that's their power, that's great if they can uplift each other. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying they're all liars, but I'm just saying I've learned from experience, especially in multiple situations, not just with sports players in general. Because as you said, it happened with Derrick Rose. It was a different story. Wasn't 23 women. It was a different story though. So I'm just saying I don't like to sit and point the finger too fast. I like to wait until I have a little bit more information. I don't know all the information to this case, but 23 women, you're right. It's a lot. So he better hope that either there's other truths behind these stories. Otherwise, this is going to be terrible.
I can understand, and I think just so people who don't, just so you guys don't misunderstand Mary Claire's position, and MC, correct me if I'm wrong. She's basically saying don't rush to judgment, because it's so easy to say, "Oh, 23 people. Oh man, he sure did it. That's crazy."
No, but you can for sure form an opinion based on what you know in this moment. That's what I'm saying.
You can't. I would say this. Let me just say this real quick. I'll just say this. Let's keep this in mind. This is not a criminal case.
It's a civil case.
I just want everybody to know. He has not been charged formally or anything like that with the Harris County Sheriff's Office down there in Houston, Texas, or any surrounding area. This is all civil. So there's so many moving parts to this. If you asking us, Sean, on the spot, which way do we say, is he guilty? Is he not guilty? I'm like Mary Claire, let all the facts play out.
Sean, what I'm trying to say is it seems like you're very clear cut. You are able to form your opinion because the 23 numbers that resonates with you. The number 23 that resonates with you. That's too many people. You've already made your opinion. I'm just saying I've seen people point multiple fingers at one person and they're wrong. That opinion's false. So I'm just saying I've learned from my experiences not to sit there and point the finger just because multiple people have come together. I'm just saying I want to hear all the facts and see it play out.
Can I provide some advice for all the athletes, Sean? As you mentioned, I do cover sports and all of that. My advice to barely now, right? But my advice to any athlete, any young person out there, and I even say this to college kids all the time, because we've seen that happen with college students of more than anything, right? With the college athletes, and this girls say, "Oh, he raped me," and then they lose their scholarship and everything. And Mary Claire is right. We've seen that happen to players at different universities all the time. Then it come out 5 years later, the actual criminal case happened, and it was like found not guilty. That didn't even happen. This person's whole career, before it could even start, is gone. Leave people alone. Just leave people alone. Get you some Vaseline, call it a day, baby. Because
this is why we have the systems in place that we do. Not all of them are accurate, but this is why we have to have systems like this, because sometimes we need it to play out the truth, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes, one person pointing a finger at somebody like Derrick Rose, the truth will come out because you don't see a bunch of other people lying and stuff like that. But that is why we have to have systems in place, because we can't always trust what one person or 10 people say. Sometimes, Sean, you have to understand too, when you're the person who gets to make the final say on what kind of accusation you're making or claim or whatever truth you're trying to tell. Sometimes it comes down to that person and their lawyer and what they're going to put on paper. In your eyes, you might say it makes more sense to say it's sexual assault, but you don't know that person's relationship to Deshaun Watson. Maybe they don't feel comfortable saying sexual assault. Sometimes that sounds silly. It was sexual assault, but you don't want to say sexual assault. You want to, lighten up at this time and place, but you never know. You just don't.
Yeah. And
it's
also
the burden of proof. That's the biggest thing.
True. That is also
that's the
true.
biggest thing, Sean. Outside, I'm almost done, Aaron. I know you want to jump in, but before, other than the money, it's the burden of proof. With a civil case, like, that's something you can actually settle out of court. Hey, Aaron did this to me. You give me 50,000, and NDA, non-disclosed. We're good. But when it comes to something like, okay, you did something criminal to me, then the burden of proof, and it's kind of like, how do you kind of prove that? I'm sure if this didn't happen in the past 2-3 days, there's no rape kits involved. You know what I'm saying? Like, we watch enough law you. So it's kind of like, how do you, as the victim, prove that Deshaun Watson made you move your hand up a little more? You see what I'm saying? Like, how do you prove that? And then you're going to be on stand and you're going to be asked these tough questions by, his attorney. Hey, so what happened? How did this? Or we saw
Rusty Harden.
It's like all of that, right? And it's and it becomes way too much. So a lot of times for people in those situations, especially when you're dealing with somebody famous, it is easier to say, look, you know what you did to me, I'll sign the NDA, but for all the trauma that I went through, I'm gonna need my 1,400.
Yeah.
And they had to counsel with the lawyer, so the lawyer probably told them, you have a better chance of getting this to stick than you would for a criminal case,
something like that.
On sexual
Sean, can
assault.
I ask you a personal question? How many people do you know personally? Like, you can call them right now and talk to them about it. How many do you know personally that have successfully gone through with, accusing somebody of, sexual assault, maybe abuse or misconduct, whatever you may want to classify anything?
2.
2? Okay. And did you see those cases go to court?
Did me personally?
Yeah, like, not with your own, it doesn't have to be firsthand. Like, do you know, like, did those things go to court? Like, did you see it play out, hear what happened?
I mean, this was like almost a decade ago, so I honestly don't remember right now. I can't answer that.
Okay, well, that's a big defining factor, though, because, I would say a lot of women hear and see other women go through things, and they understand how hard it is.
For sure.
To, pick those classifications and point the finger, go through the whole process. I mean, I've seen a friend, get sexually assaulted and nothing ever got done about it. Do I think that's right? No, I don't. But
my entire point was that I believe these women, where your point was, I got to wait and see.
Yeah, but I do, because I've also seen it happen to people where they sit and say, oh, this and that happened. And then they get their friends or they get people they know who could be easy target in that situation. And then they're wrong. They're wrong. And sometimes mass numbers mean nothing. It's just because they knew people or they knew how to say, like, hey, I'm going to say this and that. If you say it too, you can get in on this. Okay. Make this person go down and discredit them. I've seen it happen. I'm just saying I like to wait for a little bit more facts before I make my opinion, especially because I don't know any of these women and I do not know Deshaun Watson like that. I know he's a big figure, but.
And Aaron, ask Aaron a question. Aaron chimed in a minute.
No. Well, I asked all you guys a question. Sean, I know your favorite artist of all time is Michael Jackson. Always has been.
Yep.
When we were younger, and I don't know how much you guys watch the news. I was always wanting to be a reporter, so I watched it every day. When we were younger, you could not turn on ABC News, CNN, anything without Michael Jackson being the headline of all of these different cases of people saying that he touched this child, he did this with this child. And then, of course, that infamous 2020 interview that he did with that British reporter. What's the question? The question is, in situations like that, Sean, Michael Jackson being your favorite artist, do you believe that all those kids and those kids' family members that came out and said, hey, Michael Jackson was this, Jacko Wacko, all the different things that they called him in the tabloids, did you believe that?
Yes and no.
Numbers game,
right? So
okay, yes,
game, right? But yes and no, right? Because that wasn't necessarily the kids coming forth saying the shit. It was the parents, in my opinion, telling the kids what the fuck to say. For the most part.
And that's why I want to hear what these women have to say.
But this is different because these are adult women saying the shit, right? Versus having kids. And we can coerce a child to say some shit, for sure. Now, I don't think that he's completely innocent. I'm not naive. I'm not going to say that.
You're telling me adults can't?
I don't think they would in mass numbers like that.
This is interesting. I mean,
in mass numbers.
Have you ever met a group of girls who really wanted a man to go down for some bad shit? I'm not saying that man didn't do some bad shit, but I've seen some bad shit. Lie.
I don't know. Michael Jacko came across as fucked up because it was children that he was doing this shit to allegedly.
Yeah.
Right. Allegedly. Was he ever found guilty of anything?
No.
Nope. He paid some people off though. I mean, you know.
So yeah. Watch why I don't think he's 100% innocent. I'm not naive. Like, I'm aware of that.
I'll say, if you want my honest opinion, since you want us putting everybody on the spot, my honest opinion is that I do believe that Deshaun Watson was getting carried away in some of these massage therapist situations.
Yeah.
And now, to what extent did the women play into that? It could have been they participated out of fear. I mean, could you imagine? This is big. Football, black man.
I don't know what you were trying to say.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like you were about to.
That was really weird.
About to reference his
but keep going.
No. I forgot about it. I'm just thinking about it now when I think about the SI article because Aaron and I, we the only two people that read it apparently.
Yeah, I read that entire thing.
Right. So he was like, he had told the lady he didn't want the towel on him because it just.
Yeah, he said this itches, and he just tossed it off and then turned over.
Could you imagine? Y'all play too much. I was just about to say,
you play too much.
Could you imagine? You 5'4", this big, tall.
Okay, JV, what are you trying to say?
Oh my goodness!
What are you trying to say?
Could that could be intimidating? Is what I'm trying to say for somebody who's shorter, petite. That could be kind of intimidating, and maybe they went along with it, but didn't really want to willingly
because they feared pain.
They
feared that he might retaliate.
Right. I mean, anything. He could have said anything. I mean, we weren't in a room, but he could have said, hey, if you don't do this, I'm going to tell you. But, again, this is a high clientele person. This is the quarterback of the football team in the city that he plays in. So what I'm saying is that, yeah, I think some things went carried away. What I'm very curious to know is because the NFL, if you ever covered a team, you know how they basically watch their players all around. I want to know why the Texans ain't said nothing yet. Where they at?
Well, so actually,
JV, you sent me this yesterday. You sent me this yesterday, JV. You think he's clearly guilty as shit.
No,
okay, don't do that.
I said that because I thought the meme was funny.
JV.
You just thought it was funny. That's
I thought that was funny. Don't do that. We showing text messages now. Don't be like that.
But JV, you brought up the point of the Houston Texans, and everything that I've seen about this is that Tony Busby is a personal friend of Kyle McNair's father, Bob McNair, and that he's actually a neighbor to them. So I think the initial thing that came out was that Tony Busby might be just doing him a favor to try to slander Deshaun Watson in the media.
I think a photo was handed over. I honestly believe that the Texans knew a little bit about this. And when Deshaun started talking about how he was ready to leave Texas, I believe when the manila folder was handed over and said, make it happen.
And that's the fact that I wouldn't even talk about. Like, I didn't even think about putting two and two together like that.
I really believe that. If you really want to know what I really believe.
What makes you think that a photo was handed over, JV? I need to know.
You said folder.
A folder. I'm explaining why I say that. Because
I thought you said photo. Sorry.
No, I think a folder was handed over. Like, hey, this is something that you could bring to the light. And I'm explaining why I say that. Because
why do you think that though?
Damn, let me explain.
In the world of professional sports, those teams are paying these players millions on top of millions, and they are watching these players like a hawk. Everything that you've ever read in the tabloid or heard on the gossip reel, the owners and the players, they know about what's going on, right? You can go back to the Washington football team. Remember all the scandals they had going on? The owners and everybody knew about what was going on. Anytime, right? So Dallas Mavericks, right? Remember when they had all that racist stuff and sexist stuff going on? Now, Mark Cuban said he didn't know, but everybody under Mark Cuban knew. So maybe Mark Cuban didn't know, but everybody under him knew. Point that I'm making is that those teams know what's going on. And I want to know how the star of a football team, the star, and when you think of Texans, all you think about is Deshaun. How he going around allegedly doing all these things to these different masseuses all throughout Harris County, metropolitan Houston, and ain't nobody heard nothing about it. But in the moment he started barking, I'm ready to get out of here.
He asked for a trade. What you don't know is he asked for a trade out of Houston.
I heard about that, but I just wanted to take in everything that you all knew from the sports side to get that perspective because. I never thought of it that way because I was thinking more of, if I'm thinking of it as a team, like maybe the Texans don't want to say anything because they're like, that's not our mess anymore. Like, that's yours now.
No, because they want to keep him because he's a dope ass quarterback.
Right.
That they want to keep, and his trade value went from being everybody in the fucking league wants him. Nobody's asking for him right now. No one's even trying to acquire his ass right now.
Hands off at this point.
His hands off. So I don't believe like some people are going as far as saying, oh well, maybe they're just concocting this all together. No. I believe that he was on some freaky stuff up in them masseuse parlors. But
I think so as well.
But I think that the Texans knew something, and somebody dropped a dime to that attorney who lived right across the street and was like, "Hey, you want to make the headlines? Call all them TV stations down there in Houston, and then make a press conference and make it happen." And next thing you know, that's the biggest thing in the whole.
It's going to bring a lot of other people to light, who maybe were hush for some time, and they never spoke up because they're just as guilty if they knew something was happening.
And people don't do, and not to say that teams do that kind of stuff all the time, but they know, these teams know. Like anytime you see a player driving around drunk and they realize, oh, this is such and such who played for such and such team. Come on now. They know they got sources. Come on, if I, the news reporter, know that you got pulled over for drinking and driving last night at 2:00 in the morning, you mean to tell me
damn
somebody on the team knew?
Right, come on now.
Well, that's a good point. And it's a good conversation. It's good to talk about. JV's excellent point, bringing up the Texans part of it. Let's go ahead and wrap this shit up with your final thoughts. MC, we'll start with you.
Well, Sean wants me to have a final opinion. So I'll say, knowing some of the things I did not know after this conversation, I would probably say Deshaun Watson probably did something bad. I don't know what that something is. But I'm not going to sit here and say all 23 people that came forward that I know that they're accurate as well. I will just say, just because things happen in mass numbers doesn't make it any more right. I mean, we see situations happen on the daily, whether it be about race, a man versus woman, or vice versa. Just because you have numbers of people doesn't make it any more right.
Okay. That's
fair enough. Aaron?
That SI article is probably the most damning piece of evidence against Deshaun Watson, and it's the thing that keeps me leaning towards that there was some sort of misconduct going on.
I feel that.
I agree. JV?
To all my athletes out there, since I cover sports, I'm gonna make it quick. If you know you got some freaky things going on with you,
oh my gosh,
I'm just keeping it real. This is what we do at High Chicago. Either A, seek help, for real, seek help, or B, at Walgreens, if you get the Walgreens kind, they got it buy one get one half off. Get you some Vaseline, just do your own business. And,
bro, what?
And you would have these problems. You would have.
Guess we're giving out masturbation advice.
You would have these problems.
Okay.
Because Paul Molina ain't finna say nothing, but that's y'all problem. Y'all want to go.
No.
I want to go out there.
That's the issue.
That's the issue. Keep your hands to yourself.
Here's my final thought. And Aaron, you're the main one based on your Twitter account, so we get it.
Right.
I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. Miracle, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the topic.
Okay.
Have you ever watched America's Next Top Model?
Yes.
Don't you do this?
Are you familiar with?
Nope, Sean, we're not gonna do that today. Wrap this show up. Wrap this, Sean.
What are we gonna do?
We'll talk offline, Miracle. We'll talk offline.
Yes, sir.
Okay, to be continued.
Go ahead, Aaron. Go ahead, drop the credits because we're not going to play like that.
That's an inside joke.
Go ahead.
Anyway, guys, if you enjoy what you heard, please give us a like. Consider subscribing. Also, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at HighChicago312. And also, try to listen to us on any of your favorite podcast platforms. The link will be in the description. Until next time, peace.
Peace.